Yeah, talo wala everybody. Welcome back to the first episode of the Village Council podcast for 2024. This is the year of Kobe. This is the year of all the good things that's coming our way. We have a special guest in the building, in the shop with us today, all the way from right here in Aotearoa, a native son of our beautiful country here, Aotearoa. We have our brother here, R&B. I'm going to say legend, dog. I'm going to just throw it out there, man. Bro. Legendary. Oh. R&B legend from outside of the equator. What's up, Peter T? How you doing, bro?
What's up, bro?
I was going to keep going and take 45 minutes. So
that's a beautiful big intro, bro. Thank you so much. Thank you, bro.
Trying, man. I got to write it out next time. My bad, dog. Yeah, getting used to this, man. Welcome back home, bro.
I'm on it. Hey, it's good to be home, man.
Welcome back home.
It's good to be home. It's been, 2 years? Over 2 years I've been over in London.
With the COVID, like since COVID?
Yeah, I moved in 2021 over to London. So I literally just left as they closed out the country, locked it down. No one can leave unless you're double vaxxed. No one can get in unless you're double, all that craziness. I left it, went to London, and it was smooth sailing over there, man. Everything was back to normal there, so it was a blessing for real.
So it was kind of like America. I seen them had the Super Bowl and all these things going on while we were still stuck at the house over here for 2 years.
They were having concerts out in the UK and football games and everything was going on while New Zealand was still in crazy mode. So
man.
I got out at the right time. Yeah, shout out to London.
Yo,
Bojo, Boris Johnson.
Let's go,
Bojo.
So you just got back into to Auckland?
Yeah, literally just a few days ago. Came in just a few days ago back in TNZ.
From so you just came back a couple of days ago from Gisborne, right?
From Gisborne. So we had Summer Frequencies down there.
Summer Frequencies.
Shout out to the team down there.
Shout out to the team. Shout out Davey.
Shout out Davey. We love you, bro.
And it was crazy. It's packed, thousands of people, and that was my first festival back since I don't think I toured for 5 years. About 4 years, 4+ years. Last lot of shows was 2019. So it's an awesome way to enter back into the country, man, and into the game, straight to a festival. So it's a
especially with that lineup, though, bro. You had the likes of Decons, Ragnar,
Eddie's,
the everyone under that one roof.
That would have been cool backstage, just reminiscing and catching up with folks.
Yeah, it was cool. I caught up with Nanes real quick, just outside of the. It's awesome when you see people on road. We're working. It's quick catch ups, but it's always heartfelt. It's good to see you, man. How you been? What have you been doing?
Yeah,
all of those things. It was really cool. Good to catch up with everyone, and we did the Sunday night, so. It was Cora, HP Boys were there, Tomorrow People, seen the homies Swiss. So, yeah, man, it's cool to be back in the scene. I've been out of it for a minute, so to come back in, see all the homies still going hard, it was awesome, man.
Does it feel like when you're back here, compared to where you are now, because you're currently still based in the UK?
Yeah, that's right. Yep, still based in London.
What's the comparison? Because I've never based on that, I've never been. What's the comparison to the vibe that you get working out there with artists, the local artists from that side, to being back here? I know this is your home, but yeah, what can you tell us about the game out there, bro?
I think because there's 69 million people in the UK, in the United Kingdom. Damn. 69 million people in a very small island. That it's probably I don't know about sizing, but it'd be comparable to New Zealand or maybe a bit bigger, whatever. But there's so much more people there. There's a much more diverse and broad range of races. So you've got lots of people from the Caribbean, West Indians. You've got lots of people from different African nations. You've got a lot of Eastern Europeans. So it's just a huge melting pot of different races over there. And I noticed it's constantly busy. Doesn't matter where you are in London, it's busy, it's moving. People are doing things. People are busy. And it's I felt when I went over there, I was like, man, me personally, I felt like I don't go hard enough compared to how these guys are hustling out there. They're constantly working. They're constantly on it, just, really grinding, really pushing to get their stuff onto radio, pushing to get their stuff onto Spotify. And one of the things I noticed over there too is that when artists tend to blow up in the UK, it tends to go further afield. Yeah. It's not just, local to the United Kingdom. They'll start blowing up also in localities in Europe. They'll blow up in Africa. they'll start blowing up in the US. So it was really exciting being over there, and it made me realize that, with our like Kiwis, if we went over there and applied what we do here over there, we would win. We would win. We'd do very well. If we applied our music and applied what we do here over there, we'd do very well.
Would you say we're over here at home, we're way more laid back compared to what they are over there?
I think the young generation, I think the new guys they're sort of getting it. They understand it because they're growing up with phones in the hand, so they understand, like, yeah, we just got to be posting constantly. Like, I've been talking to a couple of the young guys and soaking up game. I'm never too proud to go and, not listen to the young gunners. Like, they know what's up. And talking to them, like, they're telling me, like, bro, you should be posting 3-4 times a day. I'm like, how, cuz? Like, how do you do that? And then I see, like, literally, they're just on it. Everything they're doing, they're just real conscious of posting, getting these things up. And it's proving in their numbers. So if they can
they're consistent, huh?
Yeah, very consistent. And if they can do that here, imagine what they could do with, an audience base that is, 10 to 15 times greater. It only makes sense that your success would be larger if you have a larger audience to reach. So seeing some of those, even seeing some of the young gunners out there, guys who would be, I guess, comparable in terms of size, like, let's say, like a Pieter artist out there, oh, bro, he's killing it. Like, he's doing very well. He's rolling around in the Rolls and the Bentleys and stuff like that. Like, so
we're coming to the UK.
So it's definitely, a land of opportunity. And for those who are willing to go out there and get out there and hustle, oh, man, you'll do well. You will do very well. Yeah.
That's good. So how do you feel you've been received out there coming from outside at all?
I think, well, it's crazy. I did a show with DJ Noise in London, and it was packed. We had a whole bunch of Polynesians and Melanesians, all that, flying in from all over Europe to come and see us.
So, because I didn't realize this, coming from the islands where we're always separated from our cousins on this island, that island.
Yeah,
the water separates us or unites us, whatever. But over there, it's like the land is like you can catch a train or something and you're going to the next country, right?
You can catch a train from London to Paris.
See what I'm saying?
You can catch a train, and you can drive. You can literally drive through the channel. They've built a channel if you want to, like.
How long does that take, though?
It's like
from here to Wellington.
No, shorter than that. It's like an hour and a half, 2 hours.
It's like H-Town.
Yeah,
from here to H-Town.
Yeah, it's close. So everything.
Going to London.
Yeah. So anywhere in Europe is really close. Like if you're in the UK, you can. I mean, in the United Kingdom, you can drive to Wales.
Yeah.
You can drive to Scotland, and it's just a short flight over to Ireland. You can hop to, Greece, Spain, all these things. Flights are super cheap.
That's trippy, bro.
You can get everywhere in Europe.
So that's why all of our cousins that play rugby and sports and that, they go there. They're in every other country, every other day.
Yeah.
It's literally next door.
Because it's cheap. I mean, you're talking about like the price of an Uber from Southside to Auckland Central.
You're kidding me.
So
You're kidding
if
me.
it's the cost of an Uber to hop on a plane and go, like, you know what, today I feel like I want to go and spend the day in Spain. Yeah, I'll go to, shoot over to Portugal, whatever. Like, bro, it's cool, man.
It's trippy.
Very, very cool.
Europe has always been like so far away to me, my understanding of the world and life, because it just, far. But I wonder, like, because you're mixed, huh? Are you mixed?
Yeah, I'm mixed. So how I ended up getting over to London is actually my grandfather's British.
There you go.
So my grandfather immigrated to New Zealand, I believe, in the 40s. He came from the north of England, from the Lakes District, near Blackpool area. So he's a proper hard-working, middle class, take no prisoners, play no games, British man.
Yeah.
And he immigrated to New Zealand with his family, and then he met my grandmother on the East Coast.
There you go.
Maori woman.
Yeah.
And he fell in love with the brown skin.
All right.
Can you imagine at that time, a mixed
in the 40s.
race?
In the 40s. Was it even legal back then? I know Americans, it wasn't legal until I'm not going to say, maybe the 50s or 60s.
Yeah, well, what I know from talking to my nana and my papa, they're both not here anymore. Rest in peace, God bless them.
Right.
But they struggled. They had a lot of people, really, really giving them heat over their relationship, over their union, and not just white people, but also
Our own?
you know, from Maori as well, saying, hey, look, you know, your kids are gonna really struggle, all these things, but they made it work. You know, they had a loving marriage. They had I think it was 6, you know, loving children, hustling, bustling family life. So yeah, so he immigrated to New Zealand, and I ended up going back to London on an ancestry visa. So it was very easy. It was very easy for me to get in.
See, so I'm trying to get one of those things to go back to America because I never got my American passport.
Get that ancestry visa, bro.
You know, I asked my dad, can you help me get my passport? He goes, what for? Oh, I don't go back to America. What for? So he had a bit of a tough run with America.
Oh, okay.
The same thing, because, you know, Papa was very white, but then Mama was very, like, dark black.
Yep, there you go.
And they got married in, like, the 1920s.
Yep.
So even Papa was like, we ain't never going back. We're going to go and try this place, Australia. We'll see what that's like.
Yeah.
And so they're buried over there.
See, it's totally different to what they would remember now, isn't it? You know,
Man.
things are so much more accepted. Well, you know, we will call it out. If anyone's like hassling people in interracial relations, I mean, me myself, I'm in an interracial marriage. You know, my wife is British. She's black, Ghanaian. So, you know,
Beautiful black queen.
Yeah, beautiful black queen. I'm blessed.
There you go.
You know, so it's very commonplace today. You know, no one really bats an eyelid while we're walking around in London. You know, I'm obviously fair skin. I'm light skin. No one's batting an eyelid. Like it's very commonplace. But geez, if we were to just go back to like the 60s or 70s in the UK,
It'll be something else.
It would have been tough.
It'll be something else.
It would have been very
Yeah, bro.
different. You know.
I do see some things, you know, especially we're in the social media age, and I see some people say some things. You can always tell like a troll or a hater or whatever, but when you see somebody in a high position or standing in the community say something, and it comes across like they don't approve of like mixed race people like us, like we're born, we're already here.
Yeah.
And I see some of the things that some people say, and like cultural appropriation and all these kind of things, and it kind of gets a bit too messed up for me to want to kick it in that space.
Yeah.
I'm more like be a good human being,
Yeah.
be kind and respectful to everybody, love yourself, love people, love God. I'm trying to stay away from all that kind of negativity that can be out there. Haterism is at an all-time high.
Yeah.
And I feel like for artists too, like you know, we throw ourselves out there as part of the job. Look, new single, this is the thing.
Yeah, we're very visible. So in that respect, we're also very susceptible to becoming a target. And I've faced it.
We're dartboards, bro.
Yeah, and you just have to deal with. It's you want to be an artist, you do have to be thick-skinned, but it can be tough because I know, you know, we're all a little bit soft at heart. So, you know, and so when we see those comments, you might get 100 good comments. You get
But
the
that
one
one-
negative one. You're like,
That
bro,
one, you're just like,
I need to find his IP address.
where he lives at.
Where he
to
lives.
find where he lives. I need to see any of his mutual friends, and I've really had to, like, me starting to release music again. I've had to dead that. I've had to just remember, like, look, it is what it is. People are gonna hate, and I had a really good conversation with there's a guy in Australia. His name's Oxley. He's the second largest Australian TikTok creator. He's got like 5.7 million followers. I was talking to him about it, and he said, look, negative publicity is still engagement. So as long as they're
Yeah, that's true.
engaging,
They're
That's
still
true.
coming in. They're still watching and shit.
It's still coming through.
as long as they're talking on your
algorithm
page,
and all that.
they're feeding you up the algorithm. So if you can handle it, you'll do very well. If you can just, like, you know, roll with it, roll the punches, you know, just type back, hey, thanks for the engagement, my guy. And that might even stir the pot further.
I'd be doing that. I'd be like, hey, man,
Thank you
much
for
love
the
and
free
God bless. And then
publicity,
they'd be getting angry.
Thank you, mate, for
People
free.
hate it more, eh? So
Yeah.
you say, thanks, bro, God bless.
Just rubbing
They go,
it in, eh,
don't
bro?
you dare. How dare you? Like, oh, my gosh. This guy's coming for a fight. He just wants to argue.
Bro, do you mind if we go back to the beginning?
Yeah, let's do it, man.
So, you're from Hamilton?
Yep. I was born in Hamilton, raised in Perth for a few years, and then we moved back to a place called Oakland. You guys know where that is?
No.
Oakland, right next to Mount Ruapehu.
Yeah.
So it's a very small town. We lived there for many years, and then I moved from about the age of 12. We moved back to Hamilton, and I was there right through my teenage years, right through high school, and then moved up to Auckland. So I guess you would say I'm definitely like Hamilton. It's me. It's in my blood. That's where I'm from.
Shut up,
Yeah.
age town.
I feel you.
Yeah.
I feel you.
So is that? Were you always singing? Did it was it something that you and the family grew up doing, or
Yeah, did it start there or?
did it start there? Or?
So my parents don't really sing. My dad used to play the guitar from time to time. He used to have this real beautiful 12-string guitar. So
There you
when he
go.
play it, man, the harmonics was beautiful on that thing. So he'd play it from time to time, but he never really, he was never a serious musician. I think he just played just because he enjoyed having a beer and, playing the gat. And in my family, there's like a couple of singers dotted here and there, like my auntie Janie Tuhoro in Hamilton, and my uncle Jimmy. They were quite successful singers in the 60s and 70s. So on my father's side, the Tuhoro side, yeah, I've got some singers, and then on my mum's side, my auntie Stacy is a beautiful singer, but she determined very early that she only wanted to sing in church. She wanted to keep her gift solely for God. So she just kept her gift, reserved for the Lord. But as for me, it kind of just came upon me, man. I wasn't really singing all that much as a kid. It's not like it was impressed upon me to sing a whole lot. But it was probably around the age of about 8 or 9 years old that I started, looking at Dad's big Sony stereo. You remember those
Yeah, bro.
the big stereo systems with like the cabinets and everything.
Yep.
I'd see all the records there, and I go, "What's this?" And I just sit there with a pair of headphones and start pulling out Dad's records and start playing them. Say, "Oh, what's this music like?" Because I was intrigued by the album covers.
Yeah.
I'd look at album
The,
cover.
the
and-
old album covers are so dope. Like,
Wow, yeah. From the 70s and
Yeah.
80s, like, they had some amazing album covers. So I'd pull this one out. Who's this? Oh, this is UB40. Okay, let me put this thing on, see what this is about. Oh, I really like this music. And, the other thing I loved about the album covers, I really loved opening them up and you'd see all the lyrics.
yeah.
Almost all of them would have the lyrics of the songs, in the album covers. So I used to like listening through and reading the lyrics and think, okay, what does that mean? What does this line mean? Why has he said this here? And then that's kind of how it started. And then it was like I was a teenager before I realized I could sing.
Yeah.
I didn't really know. Although I fell in love with music, about the age of 8 or 9, it wasn't until I went to high school that I started exploring singing and then realized I might be okay. I think I've got a voice. It seems okay. People aren't running away in terror.
Yeah.
And this is in H-Town.
Yeah, this
High
was
school
in H-Town in high school.
What school did you go to?
Fraser High. Shout out to Fraser High.
There you go.
And so yeah, I was there. But even in high school though, I didn't do music. I kind of wish I had, but I didn't do music. I didn't take any music classes. I was in the barbershop quartet though, and I think that's how one of the teachers, like the drama teacher, and I actually enjoyed drama. Like I really enjoyed doing acting and stuff like that. And I think somehow they heard that I could sing. And then one day I got a visit from the music teacher and he says, "We want you to play the lead in our next theater thing." So, I mean, most high schools have the theater every year they do a play, right? And so that year they wanted to do Jesus Christ Superstar. So they,
Shit.
and at that time I had long hair too, I had my long hair.
Straight away.
So they come and they,
Jesus Tuhoro, bro.
that's exactly what it was. That's exactly.
Yeah. With
Yeah,
Pieter,
the boys.
JT.
Yeah, the boys.
JT. That was it. They came and they said, "We know you can sing. You got the long hair. We want you to play Jesus." I was like, "Okay, yeah, let's do this."
Okay, man.
And so yeah, we started doing all the rehearsals, and man, it was like just being in a theater production like that. Shout out to the brothers who do theater and especially musical theater. Man, it's grueling.
Fuck, it looks hard, bro.
It is. It's
Jesus
intense.
Christ.
Superstar. Like it was rehearsals 2-3 times a week. It was full on. And so I used to play a lot of rugby at that time. I gave it up. I gave up music in order to pursue theater, musical theater and music. But that was the thing that really fostered my love for music, singing, performing. And I just, once I got a taste for it, I'm like, man, this is what I really want to do. And so after high school, I then decided, okay, I really want to do this thing properly. I really want to pursue this as a career. And so I knew I probably wasn't going to be able to do it from Hamilton. And that was simply because I knew all the stars were living in either one of two locations. They were either in Auckland or they were in Wellington. And I saw that the Auckland scene was more of the, what would you say? not like pop, more like the commercial guys, like the very commercial artists were living in Auckland, and Wellington was more the eclectic guys,
Yeah.
like the artsy guys. I thought, you know what, I kind of like the commercial scene. That seems a bit of me. So that was when I moved to Auckland and pursued it.
Was there anyone
seriously.
that you were looking up to at the time?
Oh yeah, man. I mean, at that time, I remember being 16 years old, and Scribe came through. They had a thing called Beat Street.
Oh,
And it was
shit.
it was at the Meteor in Hamilton. It was Scribe, Four Corners, and then we had some of the local brothers. Oh, Four Corners are local as well, but
Yeah.
there were some other local brothers who went to the same high school that I did. Shout out to Maddie and Hits. You know, they were
Villains.
Yeah, bro. Shout out to the
yeah,
villains,
the villains, yeah. So they got up and performed, and so it was very rap heavy where I was in the hood, and but I saw that and I saw, yo, this is what I want to do. And Scribe came out, he had a backpack on, he was like the last act, and he absolutely shut it down. Like I'd never heard any of his songs before, but his stage presence, his performance, I was looking at him, I was like, oh my gosh, like this guy is a star. And this is before
Crusader and all of that.
This is
Yeah.
before stand up came out, so he was still like, but he was a big deal. Like everyone
This is
knew.
like Scrap 2001.
Yeah.
Bro.
So he came out, and that was it. Once I saw that, I was like, bro, that's what I wanted. This is what I want to do. This is what I want to pursue. So yeah, that's like I looked up to those guys. Scribe, Nisha Mystic, obviously. Like they were
100%.
like shout out to Awanui, you know, all the rap with the R&B hooks. I was like, yeah, that I want to be that guy. Like I want to
Yeah.
be the
Bro,
guy
that's
who's
still one of my favorites, bro.
yeah,
Straight
yeah.
up.
I want to be the guy singing all the hooks, featuring with all of the rappers. Like I want to be that guy who's
We
who's,
had
who's
their,
on
their
everything.
album in Samoa, the first album that they
Bro,
had.
we played it
Yo.
every day, bro.
Yo,
in
I
high
missed
school.
home.
Yeah, because this guy, you know, he got sent back to come over and stay there for 10 years.
I was ever, I got it, whenever for rugby contract.
Yeah, and then, for 10 years.
10-year contract.
And I saw the, I
Straight
think it
from
was
South Oakland.
polysaturated, eh?
Polysaturated, that's
Yes.
the one.
So I stole that from this girl in school. Sorry, sis. I got
Oh, you
all the
passed it,
CDs,
bro.
all the CDs that you want now. But
So you
nah, like I
passed it,
seen it, and
bro.
I was like, oh man, because you can't buy CDs out there, and if you could, it's like $60
It's expensive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
in Ta'ala. So I was like, oh hell no, man, I'm trying to take this, and it was just a CD, and I smuggled it out of there, and like they searched the whole classroom, and I had it tucked away in one of my notebooks, and then went back to the house. We had a PlayStation 1 that hooked
Yeah.
up to a speaker in the TV, so we played it on there, and yeah, this guy had everything on
Sis,
the gap.
if you're watching that now, come to the store, okay, or send a family member. He will pay for the CD. He-
Gotcha.
he'll-
Yes, please.
you
Shout out
get it,
Nisa
you-
Mystic, by the way.
These
Yeah,
missed it.
shout out
I
to the
told this
uncles,
story
bro.
to Feleki too. I was
They-
like, sorry, man.
So
I had
Feleki
to
was
steal
looking
your
to you.
first album.
Bloody thief.
But man, yeah,
stole her.
we really loved that whole album, bro. Like,
Yeah.
and that song "Brothers"
Yeah.
was my favorite. I think to this day it still stands out as one of the big songs from this side of the world.
Those guys were making hits, man. Like
Yeah, bro.
and just moving a whole generation, inspiring a next generation. I remember seeing them at all of these different shows, like Coca-Cola Music in
Yeah,
the
I remember
Parks and
that.
stuff like that.
Yeah.
See them perform, like what is this? Like you've got
They did the
you know.
ads, you know, like the Coca-Cola
Yeah,
commercials.
yeah, that's
so
it.
when we saw that in Samoa, we're like, oh, they're doing commercials.
yeah.
I think people like Nesians are kind of the reason why we decided to come to New Zealand for music.
Real.
Because
Okay.
when we were in the islands, we were like, all right, you know, we got to go to America. How are we going to get it on the flight? How are we going to get out the rock?
Yeah,
We're going to
yeah,
join the
yeah.
military when we're 17. That's one way to get out.
Mm.
And then, you know, we start hearing things about the scene out here in Auckland. And we were like, yo, they're actually putting people on out there. Like, let's
Yeah.
go check it out.
and people are making money doing this thing.
Yeah.
So that was it. Guys like Nisha Mystic. There was another time I saw. I think I was at it might have been Parachute Festival or something. There was a segment for Dawn Raid, and Aradna and At Ease came out. And the first time I saw Aradna, I was like, oh my gosh, I'd never heard anyone singing R&B like this. Like
Same, bro.
she was incredible. I was like, yo, she's like our Tamia. She's like our
Yeah.
Aaliyah. Like, you know, she's massive. So again, it was all these like little things where I kept seeing them at different shows in Hamilton. I was like, that's where I need to go. I need to go to Auckland. Because the other option I thought as well, I was like, okay, maybe I could probably go to Australia and try and do music, but then I was like, I don't see any brown faces on TV there at the time.
Yeah.
At the time, there was no brown rappers or brown musicians on in Australia. It was super racist. It's still quite racist.
We love you, Australia. We love you.
Love you,
Australia, mate.
Yeah.
Just
But
be
it's-
kind to us over there, mate. Come on.
You know, it's a lot better now than what it was back then. But yeah, there was like very few brown faces. So I was
Bro.
like, okay, let's go to Auckland and let's see what we can do. Let's try and push it there.
So you
But-
came from H-Town to Auckland. Who did you
Yep.
look up when you came to Auckland?
Okay, so imagine I moved up. Okay, this is a crazy story. I'm gonna share with you guys some things that like no one's ever heard before probably, and
Exclusive.
some names that you may know, you may not know. But I'll give you the game of who I met and how it ended up like where it was. So when I moved up to Auckland, I had an uncle who was a half brother of my dad. And we never grew up with them, didn't know them, but my dad was like, look, if you're going to go to Auckland, you can go and stay with your uncle, my Uncle Philip. He's passed away now. And so that was my first connect into Auckland. So I went to go stay with him. He was living out in Bucklands Beach at the time. And then I knew I needed to get mahi because I was like, look, I got to get a job. I can't just, stay with my uncle and do nothing. So I ended up getting a job out in West Auckland. So you can imagine that mission from like Howick, like all the way east side, all the way west. But because I'd never been in Auckland, I'd never lived here before, I didn't know how far that was.
That's far.
It is far.
Especially back then, before the new motorways
Yeah.
and things were built.
Yeah,
Ju-
it
ju-
is far.
Just to add to that, bro, did it have to do with anything like about like driving a truck, bro?
No, no.
Because I'm sure I saw you driving a truck, bro, when I used to work at this metal place, bro. It's like, bro, I'm sure there's Pieter T, bro.
No, well, okay, so you're saying you used to work at a metal place. That was the second big job that I got. My family are all in scrap metal.
Oh,
So
yeah, there you go.
so there you go. So if you're in scrap metal, there's the connection. all my family is still deep in it now,
Oh,
like
there
where
you go.
the scrap traders.
Oh, solid, bro.
So I ended up working like out west at the BBQ Factory. Shout out to the BBQ
Oh,
Factory in Henderson.
Yeah.
So I was working there, didn't know anyone. I had no friends. I had no connects. I had no links. I just knew. I just came here on a hope and a prayer, man. I was like, this is where I need to be. So I'm in the BBQ Factory, and there's this Pākehā fella, this dude Dan. Can't remember his last name, but he was just a real cheeky fella, Westie. And we're there working one day. He just says to me, Pete, you got any hobbies? I was like, oh, yeah, bro, I actually sing a few songs. Like I sing. He's like, you sing? Yeah, I sing. He's like, okay. He walks away, comes back to me at the end of the day. He says, we're going for a ride. So where are we going? So we're going to the local. So what for? He says, karaoke. You're going to sing.
Oh,
I was like,
Put on
what's-
straight away.
Yeah, and he was one of those guys. He's like, you told me you can sing. You better be able to sing because I'm literally going to expose you right now. I was like, okay. I don't know if this guy likes me or hates me, but anyways,
He's just trying to get some free beer out of you, dog.
yeah. So we pull up and it's one of the local RSA or whatever. It's quite chill. But yeah, the karaoke's on, and he just basically he goes and signs my name up. I'm sitting there like a little bit nervous because I'm like, bro, you put me on the spot here, Cass. But I used to sing a lot of karaoke, like for my old man and all my uncles back in Hamilton. Like whenever they'd get on it, and I come down to go pick up my old man, being 15, 16.
Yeah.
They'd all
Sing a
come in,
number or two.
boy,
Yeah,
come and
yeah.
sing that song. Oh, uncle, I gotta go sing the song. Oh, okay.
That's when they say it and that too.
Yeah. As soon as you get it the second time, sing the song. Yeah, all good. So I was like, okay, I got a favorite. I got a go-to song that I like to sing. So it was me and Mrs. Jones.
There you go.
Oh,
Billy Paul.
bro.
And me and Mrs. Jones, we got a thing going on.
Uh-oh.
Oh,
So it was all that the R&B trills. Like I loved it, and it was to be honest, it's a bit of a show-off song. It's a little bit flashy.
Is that why you did a YouTube video to it?
Yeah.
Because I remember watching you when I first got here, and I was like, man, who's this guy? I don't know how to work we had a computer at the house, jumped on this thing called YouTube, and the first thing that pops up is probably you just did it like a month ago.
Oh,
And you're out there, like,
doc sessions. Yeah,
Doc
wow,
sessions. I was
doc
about to say it
sessions.
looked like something.
Wow, that's a
bro.
throwback.
And
Hey,
he
bro,
sang that
we used
song,
to
and I was
watch
like,
that all
yo.
the time. Shout out to, is it J.O.?
Yeah,
bro?
J.O.
Bro.
J.O.
Bro, it was you, J.O.
Man.
I think I saw the also
Deech.
Deech on those
Deech.
too. Yeah.
Shout out
Yeah,
Deech,
Deech.
Smash Proof, the homies.
Yeah.
Bro,
Yeah.
like
Shout out
that,
to the
that
brothers,
era
bro.
right there, that's when I just got here. He just got back.
Yeah.
So we were trying to get into the music, and what you guys were doing, we were like, yo, we love that shit.
Yeah.
That's the shit.
Wow.
But, we were trying to sell crack at the same time. not the bum crack. Just we were just learning how to
trying to go to church,
do foils. But man, that was like it was real inspiration to see R&B and hip hop gel together.
Yeah,
so when you came out with that, there's that song. Is it Stay?
Stay
Bro,
with
that's
me.
still my favorite song, bro.
Stay with me.
I heard that shit on the radio, bro. And I was
Featuring
like,
The Truth. Shout out to Rion. I haven't seen the bro in many years, but yeah, that was a collab, man.
Bro,
That
what
the
was
first
it
one.
like singing and dancing in the rain, bro?
It was my wildest dream.
came true.
It was all my dreams had come to like.
I was like, bro, how are they doing that? I was like, shit.
So yeah, to tell the story of how that connected, it connects to like who I met in at the karaoke. So I go up, I sing the song, and you know, I gave it my all, and then
Yeah.
everyone was like quiet after that, like pretty stunned. And so I go to sit down, I'm a bit like sheepish, like, oh geez, like did I show off too hard? And then it like someone ends up coming up to me, and it was a guy by the name of Aaron Nauer, and he was a producer, and he just happened to be there in the pub. He just happened to be there at the time.
He was supposed to be there.
Exactly.
That's God's plan,
like
bro.
It's divine, right? Like God sets people up who are to connect you, you know, to the next part of your journey.
Yeah.
So we get to talking, you know, and he says, "Look, I'm a producer. I'd like to produce you, bro. Let's just work on some stuff." And I was so stoked because I'd never met a producer before. I'd never met an engineer. I was like, "Yo, this is gonna be my first time actually like recording with someone, like actually getting in the studio." Because down in Hamilton, I didn't know anyone who had the gear, didn't have the money to get in studio,
And
stuff like
you
that.
came up here
Damn.
ambitious to be an artist.
Yep, and it just
I
started.
know the feeling, brother.
The dots just started connecting, you know? And so I started working with Aaron for a bit. We did a few songs together, started doing some production, and then slowly they started filtering out in the street. So Aaron started connecting those with certain individuals, certain people,
Yep.
and then it ended up connecting me to another homie by the name of Dave from Onehunga. And he actually used to work with the guys from RES, Red Eye Society.
Yeah.
So he was working with those guys.
Shout out the homies.
And yeah, shout out to RES. And he says to me, "Look, I got a studio. You should come out and come do some work with me." And I got a producer out there as well. I said, "Oh, cool. Who's the guy?" He goes by the name of Haz Beats.
What up,
Those
Haz?
were his.
So shout out to Haz Beats.
Team Dynamite.
And so I go over there and working with Dave for a bit, and I ended up connecting with The Truth. So that's where I ended up connecting with The Truth for the Stay With Me track. Worked with Haz Beats on some stuff, some really cool sampled R&B stuff. And then from there, it ended up connecting back to West Auckland. I connected with a guy, Rox and Jamie Leaf. If you know those guys.
Shout out to
Jamie
Jamie.
Yeah,
Shout out to
Jamie
Jamie.
Leaf. So, you know, the songs, it was all just by word of mouth and just by the songs, doing like mixtape type songs and them just filtering out into the street. And all of a sudden it's like, yo, have you heard this guy from Hamilton? Connected to this guy, that guy. And so then I ended up linking up with Rox and Jamie Leaf. And that was where we produced those two songs. We produced Cold Nights and Stay With Me. And Cold Nights was actually the first song that I ever did that they ended up going on radio. And shout out to New FM. They were the first radio station in the world to play my music. You know, putting
you go.
on.
And
Shout out
still,
to
they're
New.
still doing that.
Yeah,
Shout out
still
to New
doing
FM.
it, putting on for the Pacific. So, you know, they were the first guys to play my music. And then we did Stay With Me. We shot the video for that. And, you know, we had to get the hose with the rain. And we had to have
Oh,
the
you
rain
mean
effect.
the hose? I was like, wait, the what? Damn, bro.
No, the water hose.
No, bro.
The water
I know everyone
hose.
that's.
Oh, that thing that we used to get
They'll
beat
be
with
watching. Yeah.
as kids. We didn't listen.
Bro, I was like, man,
Put
I've
your
already
hand out.
seen Usher
weapon.
video and Peter's video. So, bro,
Is
you're
he?
dancing and singing in the rain.
Yeah.
You're
I
the
think-
fucking man,
I
bro.
think every-
Yeah, the Ray
I think
JC.
every R&B artist had to have a song in the rain. If you didn't have one in the rain, you weren't official.
That's right,
You
bro.
had to get the
Blame
rain.
it on the rain.
You had to. So we did that video, and it was amazing because, like, linking up with Rox and Jamie, they were really deep in like R&B and commercial
Yeah.
R&B. So we would just kick it a lot with the music, and then from there was another good friend that they had by the name of Jace, the brother Jace. He was a rapper from Ranui, and then he was coming around. He was hearing the music. He says, "Bro, I reckon I could get you to Day Hummel." I was like, "Yo," because Day Hummel was
Dude.
like obviously a well-known name in the industry.
Him and Neezy.
Yep, that's right. So he was
Yeah.
like, "I reckon I could get you to Day Hummel." I said, "What do you mean?" He said, "I got a friend who's really close friends with Day Hummel. one of the bros, Lenny. Shout out to the brother Lenny. And he says,
Lenny.
look, I'll connect you with Lenny, and we'll see what happens from there. So I ended up linking up first with Lenny. We played him the stuff, and I remember Lenny just being like, "Who are you, man? Like,
Shout out to Lenny.
who are you? Like, bro, I gotta get you to Day Hummel. He has to hear your stuff." I was like, "You think I got something, bro? For sure." And then after Hummel, man, I gotta get you to Neezy. I gotta get you to Chong Ni.
Yeah, that's his
I was
cousin.
Like,
yeah.
I was like, bro, hold up. Chong Ni as in like AKA
AKA
Brown
Brown
Chong Ni.
yeah.
Like
Yeah.
the OG R&B,
Yeah.
like for real. He says, yeah, look, let me first put you on to Day Hummel. And then if Hummel thinks you're good, then I think we can push you to Neezy. So I ended up opening for Day Hummel at a show in Auckland. He had a show somewhere, I think it was on like 4th Street back in the day. And opened for him there and was just kicking it with Hummel afterwards. And Lenny just goes up to him, "What do you think? Has he got it?" And Hummel just looks at me and says, "He's got it, bro. He's got it. All right, I should connect him with Neezy. 100% connect him with Neezy." So then he takes me over to Chong Ni. And at the time, he had a studio in Kingsland. So I go into the studio. Never met Chong Ni before, and I love because Neezy's so loving, but at the same time, he's a little bit standoffish until he knows like you got the goods. Until he knows you, he's just a little bit standoffish. So he's a little bit cold at first, and I'm just sitting there, just like humble, just like just waiting. And then Lenny's like, "Oof, you need to hear this guy." And Neezy's like, "Yeah, you need to hear him, man. Like he's R&B for real." "You sure?"
Are you sure?
Yeah, those ones. "You sure?"
It's because R&B. That's why.
Yeah, exactly.
If you're a
As soon
rapper,
as
he'd be
you
like,
say-
"Hey, let me what you got."
Yeah. As soon as you say R&B, it's like, are you sure? And so Lenny's like, "Yeah, I've got to see, I'm sure." And Neezy's just like sizing me up at first. I remember at the time, man, it was the 12% of Cody's. He just
The silver bullets.
hands me
Silver
the,
bullets. That's a
so
court
it's
case
like
in the can.
court case in
A few court cases in the can.
it's not just, it wasn't just, look, let me hear your music. It's like, what type of person are you? I need to see, can you handle your liquor
Yeah.
too? It's like,
That's
wow.
the test.
I'm from H-Town, bro. Like, I'm from H-Town. So sitting there, crack open the can. He puts the CD in. First song was, Stay With Me. Plays it. He's sitting there listening to the piano. He's like, 10
Oh,
seconds, stops the record. "This you? This you?" "Yeah." "This," plays it again. "Nah," stops the record. This is you. This is.
Oh, bro.
And that's when I knew. I was like, wow, that's it. And from that moment, that whole thing just changed my life. The trajectory just went crazy after that. Neezy straight away was, "Bro, I have to sign you. I gotta sign you to Handmade Records. I can get you a record deal. I can put you on."
That was with
With Cog.
With Cog, KOG. Yeah.
With Cog when they were up in Kingsland, New North Road. Yeah, New North Road.
Kingsland,
That's
New North
where they
Road.
were. So
Shout out to KOG, man.
Yeah,
They did,
shout
they
out-
did all
shout out
about
to Cog.
mastering.
yeah.
Yeah.
Chris Shetland,
Chris
Huya,
Shetland,
Chris
shout out to
Shetland.
Chris.
amazing people.
Love you, bro.
And I have to say, like, again, when we talk about like the whole divine path thing, I was so blessed to be linked with Chong Ni, because if I didn't go with them, if I'd ended up being picked up by a major, I wouldn't have been taught the game.
that part.
I wouldn't have been taught the game. Like with
part.
major record labels, they want to keep you dumb, because the moment you know the game, right, you take away their bread.
Yeah, they just
You
want you
know?
working in the field, bro.
Yeah, exactly. Look,
Make that money from.
that's all they want from you. Just sing the songs, go in the studio. We won't teach you how to engineer. We'll even get writers for you. We'll make you a big star, and we're just going to rinse this money off you. We won't teach you about mechanical royalties. We won't teach you about how all these things work. We won't teach you about sync licensing and publishing. We'll keep you dumb so we can keep making money off you. But God put me with Chong Ni. I know that 100%, because once I got there with Handmade Records, once I got with Chris and Huya, they schooled me to the game. They
Yes.
told me everything. They said, look, you can do this, do this, do this. You don't need a manager. You can do this. You can get with booking agents. You can go here. You need to sign up and get your APRA. You can do this, get your publishing in order, all of this. When they gave me the contract, they paid for me to go and be with the lawyer, and a lawyer that they weren't connected to, so it wasn't biased, so that the contract could be checked over. It was the best thing for me, because it's meant that I can still, handle my business today. If it wasn't for that path, if I'd have gone with a major, I very much doubt that I would still be doing music today, because it was that route that not only taught me the business, it also taught me, the internal tools needed to make music, to produce music. It was there that Chris Shetland sat me down and, put me in studio and says, right, you're going to learn how to engineer. What? Yeah, we're going to teach you how to engineer your own songs. What do you mean? I'm going to literally pull up an old session that you've done with Chong Ni. We're going to go through and we're going to reverse engineer everything so you can learn how he's done your vocals, why he's done them like this, what plugins and what effects he did so that you can become self-sufficient. You can be a self-standing artist. So that
That's
whole...
That's love, bro.
Yeah. I
That's
mean,
dope, bro.
why would they do that? It's because they're seriously good people, and God put me with good people. They taught me all of those things. So then, I could then start recording from home. I could, start figuring these things out when a lot of my other friends in the music industry didn't have all those skills. They, had to book time with an engineer to go and do it. I knew how to do it all myself.
Yeah.
So it was literally, give me the studio time, I'll go and do it myself.
Oh, that's what's up, bro.
So that's the whole journey of how it got to, Handmade Records with Chris and Huya and Chong Ni. And from there, that's when we did the first album, Life, Love, and Lessons.
Life, love, and lessons.
Deep. We were really playing off American R&B at the time.
Yeah.
We were really listening to a lot of what was happening, like Chris Brown, Trey Songz, Player, Genuine, all the big Americans. And that's, Neezy produces that stuff so well. Like,
bro.
man.
And he does it effortlessly
Oh.
too. So.
I mean, you guys have seen him, right? How he sits down at the boards. It's unreal. Like, he'll sit there, play a couple things on the keys, boom, boom, boom. 5 minutes later, you got the beat. And it's not a shabby beat. It's tidy. Like, it's sharp, man.
Yeah, bro.
Yeah. And so that was it. And then once I connected with them, it's like even further doors started opening. So doors for shows started opening. And then I ended up being asked to do a show with, I think it was with Deech. Deech had asked me to do a show. I can't even remember the name of the club anymore, but it was in Auckland Central, and that was where Young Sid was there, Jo was there, Deech was there, and yeah, once they heard the music, they were like, "Bro, you're with us, man. Come and hang out with us. You're one of the homies." And so I started doing a bunch of music with them, and then it just so happened right around that time. It's crazy, man. The divine timing. That was right around the time that Attire had come back from Australia. And they were just getting in to produce their first album, the Smash Proof album, getting ready to like record songs like Brother and these ones. And so that was where they hit me up and said, "Bro, you got to come in the studio, come and lay down some vocals with us." I was like, "Yeah, cool, man, whatever you want to do." Met Ty for the first time. We ended up doing like 2 songs for that album and a whole bunch of other records that didn't make it. But after that, once I was on the album, that meant that once the song went #1 and when they went touring all through the country, it was crazy. I came on board.
Damn,
Like
that's
I was
what's up,
on the tour. So I imagine it was like a straight shot to success. I didn't have to, go through a major label and beg to be put on certain shows and all of that. It was literally just connected here, put onto that tour. And man, shout out to the Smash Proof boys.
bro.
That
Shout out
tour
Smash
was
Proof. Let's go.
Solid.
Can you
Shout out to
imagine,
Deech.
being #1 in the country touring at that time? The shows were mental. It was literally hundreds of thousands of people at these shows. It was crazy. It was
That's
crazy.
what's up, though. That's
Yeah.
what's up, though.
It was mad.
So you've seen the highs.
Mm-hmm.
You've come up. You've experienced things like how you said, shot straight into it with the boys running on the big tours,
Yeah.
going around the world. So you've done shows from here in Aotearoa, across Australia, the Pacific Islands. I've seen you in the islands. Adding bit by bit to your tattoo on your arm, bro.
Yeah.
So it's like where you go.
It's the poly passport.
Yeah,
Bro.
like you keep adding in
That's
every
it, bro.
country. I
Yeah.
love that. I love that idea. I got no more
You got no more
canvas,
space.
barely.
You've
Unless
done
I
it.
do like my face and start from here and just work my way down. But
He's gonna do the moko,
Yeah.
guys. The full
Yeah.
face moko.
the full Polynesian one, bro.
Hey, that'd be
Melanesian.
hard. That'd be hard.
And then back over to America and in Europe now. You've seen it, bro. You've seen things that a lot of us haven't seen, and I like to get into some of the darker stuff.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, well, we
'cause,
can.
we've discussed some of the highs. Let's talk some of the lows, bro. When I got back to Aotearoa, I was living in Australia for a while, trying to do the music thing. It wasn't happening. Had a bad fallout with some people, and I was like, pack it all up. I dipped in like 10 days, got rid of the house, the cars, the job, everything, and just dipped and came back. And I didn't have anything on me at the time, so I was like, all right, bass had this idea. Look, let's just start hustling, start from scratch, do the music thing again. So I jumped on social media, because social media is the tool that I realized, okay, this is how we're gonna make some money to, get out there and also promote, the whole rundown.
Yeah.
And I see a post, and it wasn't even the post that came from you, bro. So I'm gonna have to ask you to clarify this. But I seen people hate. And the people that I saw hate, like, they're just haters anyway. I know them personally. And I was just like, bro, shut up, man. Talk about something good or shut up. So there was something where you were giving a testimony,
Mm-hmm.
if that's correct? Yeah.
Yeah.
You're giving a testimony. You were talking about your experiences in life and maybe within music
Yeah.
and some of the dark stuff that you've seen,
Yeah.
like music and drugs go hand in hand. This is something my father taught me. My father was in this game 50 years before, he was here before hip hop started. So he always warned me, be careful with that shit, because that shit will come for you.
Yeah.
And it's going to be everywhere,
Yeah.
out of nowhere, just bang. So
Yep.
were you talking about what you've seen?
Yeah, well, I mean, it was. I mean, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure out that, when it comes to music and festivals and all these things, there is an overt amount of drugs
Yeah.
available. Whatever you want is there,
Yeah.
and even what you don't want, it's there. It's in your face. And so, at that time, I remember that vividly because, the hate came, it even came from people that I knew, and I'd spent time with doing drugs with some of these people, and they were furious at what I'd said.
Sorry,
No, it's funny. I know which testimony nowadays I'm talking about. I'm like, what testimony?
Yeah, no, some people,
Oh,
some
yeah,
people,
yeah.
They
some
still
people
got
were
it. They still
furious.
got it on. Like, hey, no, hey, man. Bruh.
Some people were furious and really didn't want I don't know, just really didn't like my view on things or my perspective, and I mean that's okay. Everyone is entitled to their opinion. That's your perspective. That's fine. But I was just sharing my testimony to people that were there to hear from someone who had been through the ringer and was now saved. Someone who'd really been in the depths of depravity and the depths of darkness, and had been rescued by Jesus. And so I was sharing with them the real, the raw, nothing filtered, just absolutely what it was, and the things that God had been speaking to me about at that time. And I think that the main crux of that message essentially was the core of the message, which people didn't hear in full. They only heard parts, and then they made their judgments and assumptions based on the parts that they heard.
They took it like you were saying that artists like
Yeah, basically
are on whatever
yeah,
whatever substance,
yeah,
and they became offended.
I think that's where it got fucking or thing when people are like, hey, what? But inside they're
but-
like, fuck, we weren't doing that.
Because there's a couple of guys that I know, and they were saying like, he was saying like, it's quite likely, or it might be possible that your favorite artist is on some stuff or has seen it or has done it,
Yeah,
and so they took offense to that.
that's the one.
And I get it.
Sorry, guys.
I get it, like where they were coming from, but like I felt like they should have just kept quiet and let you speak the truth, because your truth is our truth, dog. Like it's the truth.
yeah.
And because nobody says it, this industry is designed to destroy you. So we've already been talking about the business side. So you weren't destroyed on the business side because you had a good start, and God put good people around you, and then you're smart enough to see where you're gonna get ripped off.
yeah,
So other people get ripped off. Other
Yeah.
people get given these things, the tools, the devil's tools to destroy you, and that's what
Yeah.
drugs are. I don't think no drugs did anything good for anybody. Now, this is my opinion. Herb is herb. The natural ganja, that's cool. I got no problems with that. I don't mind being around that. But when we're in a space where we're on tour, where we're doing festivals, whatever we're doing, we're in the studio, I don't want to see nothing. I don't want to see none of that stuff, because to me, that's darkness.
Yeah.
And I don't want to be, I've broken ties because my hands are not clean. I've broken ties with that life of giving people things, like, hey, bro, have some of this. Like, I don't do that. I never
yeah.
did that. I've always believed that your
Yeah.
big homie should never pass you the crack pipe.
yeah.
That's what we were taught, because, it's gonna secure your place in darkness.
So for me, so it's funny that if people knew the story, if they took time to understand, okay, he was saying these things. I wonder how it all started. Like, no one bothered to ask that question.
Yeah.
Like, wow, how did it all start? Like substance abuse and these things. Like, why was it you like that? So, I grew up in a very, very tough home, like many people. My father was a gang member, heavily addicted to alcohol, as well as different substances. Was generally out of the home often when I was a kid, and when he was home, if he'd been drinking, it was violence, extreme violence. Like, I'm not talking like a little bit. I'm talking waking up to light peeking through a wall because plasters hit your face, because someone's throwing fists through, or a person's head is being thrown
getting
through.
done.
Do you know what I mean? So
Yeah, I feel you.
it was extreme, the stuff that I saw, and it definitely
At a young kid age,
very young
up to
age,
teenage.
very young age. So
Okay.
I was conditioned to trauma from right from that age, and also where I sat in the family, I was the middle child, but my older brother, he was disabled, so I ended up having to be the older brother, and I ended up also having to be the peacemaker between my parents when things were going off into chaos, and it was constantly descending into chaos. I mean, it's a school night and the stereo's up blaring downstairs because Dad's brought people back home to get on it. My mum's gone downstairs to try and tell them all to leave, and a fight's broken out. And as a 6 or a 7-year-old, I've had to come downstairs and basically jump in front of them because I'm thinking, because I'm 7 and I'm little, if I do that, they won't fight. You know what I mean? They won't beat each other up. They won't, start throwing fists or get violent.
Was that the case?
Yeah, I was most of the time.
Yeah.
If I put myself in the midst of it, it would calm down a little bit. Didn't stop the partying and these things, but at least it stopped the violence for a while. So I kind of felt like I had to be the peacemaker in the home, between my parents, because my older brother couldn't do it because he was disabled. And so so check this, like when all those things are happening, I have to go and wake up my brothers, my younger brother, my older brother, and say, hey, come with me. I'll put you in my room so you're protected and you're safe. Shut the door, guys, put the pillows over your head so you can sleep because I know we got school tomorrow. And then I'd go down and try and sort it out between my parents. And yeah, there was so much stuff that I saw, which really is traumatic. It is proper traumatic. And, I understand now that, psychologists say, like neuroscientists say that your developmental years, your formative years are from the age of 2 to 12. So all the things that you see, you absorb, they generally set the foundation and the precedent for how you're going to be when you're older. All of that is developed right from that age. So what you hear, what you're told, what you see, what you're exposed to, that generally sets a foundation and a precedent for how you're going to be in later life. So I was very conditioned to trauma, very conditioned to substance abuse being a natural thing. So for me, the moment I got about 12 years old and we moved, to Hamilton, and I was in high school, I just start hearing about house parties. Like young kids are setting up house parties. I'm like, yo, I'm there. And I want to be there like every weekend.
Yeah.
Every weekend. Mom, Dad, I'm going to stay at this person's house. Yeah, okay, son, just be safe. And then we'd go down to the local liquor store in Norton, pay an older homie, here's $10, an extra 10 for you, just get us a bottle of vodka. And I'd end up like 1, 2 in the morning, passed out in a field somewhere because I drank that thing straight.
Yeah.
It would have been a bottle of Christoph or something.
Exactly. The disgusting, horrible.
I just wish that we were with you when you had that bottle in the good old days, so we could have, we could have grown together and gone through hell together, bro, and then we could do an album about it right now.
Come out the other side. So that's like, literally conditioned to trauma, conditioned to substance abuse and addiction, and there's many forms of addiction to it. It isn't just alcohol. There's also, sugar addictions, and it's all relative to dopamine, isn't it? And once it hits
however
the
you get
brain,
that hit.
yeah, however you can get dopamine moving in the brain, it might be sugar, alcohol. Sugar is more addictive than cocaine. No one talks about that. That's probably an epidemic in New Zealand in terms of obesity. Sugar is more addictive than cocaine, but no one's writing on you for that. You know, where they say it lights up the brain like crazy in comparison to cocaine and methamphetamine.
It's one of the biggest killers of our people.
Yeah. So it started there, and then started with like a little bit of weed here and there, but I didn't like marijuana too much because it used to spin me out. But through all of this, even as a young kid, my parents were still sending us to Christian camp. They were sending us to youth group and to church on Sundays, which was just in the hood. And it was just shout out to the bros, Neil Tolan and the Northern Western Community Center. They were really trying to help us, because it was a bunch of us kids in Northern, who grown up, with parents as gang members, really tough situations, or family members in jail, all of that. And they were really trying to, give us the real gospel, not just, come and sit in church on a Sunday, but actually, look, come, we'll feed you. We'll share with you that there's a God that loves you, Jesus loves you.
And your parents was trying to push you that way too.
Yeah, because my dad was raised in the church, in the AOG.
I think that's decent, bro.
Yeah, so even though my parents weren't really going to church, they were still trying to push us because they knew we needed a foundation of God.
Needed that light. Yeah.
But I started to get swayed by the flesh. I started seeing the musicians and stuff. I was like, yeah, I want to be like that. And I remember the scripture where it says, God literally says in Revelation, he says, be that you're hot or you're cold, if you're lukewarm, I'll spit you out of the mouth.
I've heard that one. Yeah.
So I read that, and it hit me, because I was like, God, I don't feel like I can be hot. I don't actually feel like I can be on fire for you. And I don't want to be spat out. So on this scripture, you say, if I'm cold, so I'll be cold. That was literally my decision. I said, I'm going to be cold, and I'm just going to switch off.
Like the lukewarm is like in between.
Yeah, and I'll tell you why lukewarm Christian is dangerous, because it affects everyone who's cold. A lukewarm Christian has the ability to influence and affect those who are cold to think, oh yeah, Christianity's like this. Well, then if I can just keep doing what I'm doing, and there's no conviction, I don't have to change in order to come to Jesus, then that's fine. I'll just keep doing what I'm doing. That's why a lukewarm Christian is dangerous.
I feel you, bro. I'm a Christian, and I try to be as clear about where I am in life as possible.
Yeah.
I think I texted you the other night talking about, yeah, bro, I'm trying to get sober.
Yeah.
And you're telling me, man, it's the best thing ever. I've been sober for like 2-3 years. Going, bro. Like, I'm alive.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I want that.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of getting towards there. So I don't smoke no more.
But the thing with being a hot Christian is it's not like you have to be out there on every corner preaching the gospel, all those things, like ramming it down people's throats. It's more about like your intimacy and your closeness to God. Like, are you reading your word? Are you praying? Are you seeking after him? Are you asking him to help guide your life decisions and things like that? Yeah. Like, that will slowly take you further and further closer to him. And what I realized too about my journey, because I'm not, it's not like I was perfect. It's not like I got saved, all of a sudden everything stopped. It was a journey for me. The first thing that had to go was methamphetamine addiction. That I had to get that out of my life, because it was destroying me. It was destroying me mentally. It was destroying my career, everything. Like, it was terrible. The next thing that had to go after that was promiscuity. Like that was another big one. No one talks about that, but man,
What is
Sorry, bro.
I was like, promiscuity.
Sorry, bro.
Obscurity.
No. Didn't we? Yeah, we're on Promised Land. 2026. I think we're.
That's funny. I'm like, I don't even know what that means. Obscurity. Yes.
Yeah, that boy.
Straight away.
Prom security. Is that a team?
This is what we do. So we laugh to cover our trauma.
Yeah, no, that's
Because
pretty
really
much
we're
it.
dying inside, and that's why I'm drinking right now, because I'm dying.
Yes, cover the pain.
But yeah, bro, I hear you.
That was the next thing that had to go. And so God had to walk me through these things. It was a process. Like, okay, we'll deal with this thing. And then, as I'm seeking after God, I want to be made in your image. I don't want to be, like, I feel like some of these things I'm doing, God, I don't think they line up. I don't know why, but I don't feel good after doing them. It's okay, son. We're going to deal with it this way. I want to introduce you to a man of God. He's going to preach a message that's going to convict you and it's going to change you. Okay, cool. Deal with that thing. Then the last thing to go was alcohol addiction. Like, it actually just got to a point for me where I think before I definitely think I had to drink to fill a void. I was either trying to cover up something or I was chasing something. Do you know what I mean? I was either trying to cover up pain and not think about it, or I was chasing joy. I was chasing like a real good time. I was thinking like, okay, if I'm not feeling pain, then I want this thing to be amplified. I want it to feel good. But then it got to a point where I was like, look, I can feel good without it, whether I'm on it or whether I'm not. It just got to the point where I was like, well, what does this thing, it doesn't serve me anymore. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
It wasn't like a big decision. Like, oh man, I have to stop. It just got to a point in my life where I was like, you know what? It doesn't serve me anymore. It doesn't add anything to my life. In fact, I feel like it takes away more because the next day waking up with these hangovers, like I hate it. I really, and I don't know anyone who likes a hangover. I've never met a person who said, yeah, I'd love the next day feeling. Like, man, I just hated it.
Especially in the line of work we do, like we're around it all the time. So.
All the time. I mean,
I don't get hangovers,
Real.
And I think that's a sign like, bro, quit, bro.
Yeah, it might
Like,
be.
bro, if you drink like 5 days a week, and when you sober up for 3 days, you start to feel like, oh, yo,
Oh,
that's the
wow.
cleanse though.
Yeah, see,
So that's what I'm like, bro. Like, if I don't quit now, I'm gonna be dead by next year, bro. I guarantee.
that's like those addicts, like, you know, if like real deep heroin addicts, they can't just quit cold turkey. They have to go on methadone in order to taper off, and it takes some time. So that might, I don't know. Sounds like we're having this convo. Maybe it might be time to really give it up, bro.
I don't know why I'm having
It's a
such a
sign.
difficult run at stopping drinking, but
Okay.
with the meth, I just turned it off.
Yeah, you said that before. You said for
Trippy,
you
bro.
it was just a switch. Like
Yeah,
you
like I
just
just
said,
stopped
no,
one
that's
day.
it.
Yeah.
And it's definitely not like that for everyone. Like some people find it really tough. For me, I cried out to God. I was like, I don't know how to stop this addiction. It's not like I'd been smoking meth for ages. It was like a 12-month thing. I was like, I don't want to do this anymore. God, how do I do it? And he just told me, smash the pipe, rip open the bag, tip it out. And so I realized there was some spiritual form of thing there that was keeping me bound. Literally, I felt something leave when I stepped on the pipe. That's how serious it was. Like I stepped on the pipe and was like, wow, I feel free. Before, I couldn't stop. It was like every day. Now I feel free. So for me, it's definitely been a journey, like coming through these things where God has just cleaned up areas of my life as I've continued to walk with Him. He's just made it easy. And I'm grateful, man. I'm so grateful to God that, you know, He's just been merciful. You know, He's been so loving and kind towards me. And you know, as I've made mistakes, you know, the Bible says we have an advocate with the Father through Christ Jesus. And so, you know, it also says, you know, though we fall, we shall not be cast down. And so those times where I have slipped and I've stumbled, you know, God has graciously picked me up, dusted me off, and just kept pushing me forward. And it's crazy because it feels like I don't deserve this. And He says, yeah, no one does.
Amen, brother.
No one.
Proud of you, so.
Thank you,
You've
bro.
done extremely well, bro. You know, for someone that comes from, you know, what we've seen, what we grew up watching, and to still be standing on your feet, bro. You're not in jail.
Yeah.
You're not on the pipe. You're not
Yeah.
you're not in bad terms with people. Like you got beef with everybody.
Yeah.
Like you're actually, bro. You're traveling the world and you got your head up.
Oh, yeah. Still touring.
You know, you got your loved ones with
Yeah,
you, your
man.
family.
Yeah. Got my family
You
with
know,
me. And it's the grace of God, man. It's
Amen,
literally
brother.
God. Like
Amen.
He's. So I took some time off from touring because, you know, there were certain elements of my life that I couldn't give up, and God literally told me you need to get off the road. So it's like when some certain things are difficult to get rid of, you need to change your environment, isn't it? You know, if there's an issue where, you know, you can't stop something, it might be because it's constantly in front of your face.
Oh, this guy's talking to me right now. Give me a sign.
It might be because you're constantly looking at the thing. And the Bible also says that, you know, it reveals like what you behold, you become. You know, it says that, you know, it talks about us beholding Jesus, therefore we become the image of Him. We bear the image of the Son. So if we're not beholding Him and we're beholding these other things, we slowly bear their image. We'll behold alcohol, we'll behold drugs, we'll behold, you know, sexual promiscuity, all these things. So, you know, I had to go away from touring in order to have some areas of my life cleaned up. And I went back to work as well. And that was really good for me because it was also a humbling experience. It was like, look, you go from being like the superstar, doing music, traveling the world, all these things, come back in the real world.
Took you back to the roots.
Yeah, come back in the real world. Come and work a 9 to 5 like everybody else and have to clock in and have a boss above you who'll rip you a new one if you're messing up. Like, you know, for years I was my own boss. Now I'm getting chewed out in the office by a boss. I'm sitting there going, man, you can take this job. And then, you know, as I'm leaving, God will be like, you know, you're there for a reason. You know, you're there for a reason. I'm teaching you some things, and, you know, I'm growing you like character. I think that's the biggest thing that that I've been learning on this journey with God is like He really wants to affect our character. You know, in the book of James it says, you know, consider it all joy when you encounter trials of various kinds, because they are put in your life for producing steadfastness, which is your character. It's another word for character there. So that's a whole perspective shift for me too, because when things used to go bad, I'll be like, why, man? Why? Like, why is this happening to me? I'm a good guy. Like, I take care of people. Why are these things happening? Now I realize that often when these things come, they're actually there to make us better, to make us stronger. You know, a difficult situation
God's like,
comes.
it's part of the journey, son.
Yeah, exactly.
Part of the journey.
I don't think I ever asked why. I don't think so. I think I was just too scared to ask why. Like, you know, like you don't ask grandpa like, why, grandpa? Like,
Yeah.
it was that because I was just like, oh, okay, is this what's happening?
Is this what's happening?
All right, okay, yeah. Here's another one.
Never touch it.
Never judge it. But at the end of each lesson, it was like, oh wait, there's a way out, or there's a way through.
Yeah, and there's a lesson. Yeah, isn't it?
Yeah,
like,
bro.
wow, I learned something through that. I learned something about who I was. Like, you know, it revealed a little bit about who I am. So, yeah, man, look, my journey is certainly crazy, and it's a strange one. You know, I wouldn't say strange, probably more uncommon. You know, mine is an uncommon journey. I'm here. I'm a Christian. I'm someone who loves Jesus, and I'm back out here, performing in nightclubs and performing at festivals. That might be quite strange to people as well. Like, bro,
I don't think so. I mean, didn't Jesus like go out there to the hood, like in that retrospect, like the hood back then, where how am I gonna say it? Where the
Preach.
killers, the hoes, the pimps is at.
Preach.
He went out there. Thank you, brother. He went out there and he saved people.
Yep.
He went out there and he testified on what he was testifying on and brought people back with him. And now we're all reading the word now because of things like that. So
It's interesting. The thing about Jesus is he was there amongst them, loving on them, healing them, giving them parables of the kingdom, revealing to them, the goodness of God. And they really loved him. They loved listening to him. And then he would go into the religious institutions of the day and he would rip them a new one.
bro. He would trip. He'd be out there like, you selling this in the name of my father?
Yeah,
Like,
literally
yeah,
telling
bro.
them like, you guys are vipers, you're devils. Your father is the devil, the father of lies. Like, yo, these are the priests of the day.
And it was
These
like
are
the priest was set up at the church selling T-shirts with God on it. Like, yeah, man, we selling faith. Like that kind of, along those kind of lines of, nah, man, you trying to profit off the, yeah.
You're profiting off of God's house. He says, my house shall be a house of prayer.
Isn't that why they tripped on him and then like, all right, we're gonna get this
Yeah,
guy.
we're gonna kill him.
And then in
We're
the
gonna
end,
kill
that's how it went.
And they killed him. They killed the Son of God. But there's all these crazy stories where he was like literally amongst, as you say, all the people that were broken, all the people that had issues, and it seemed as though there was no way out for them. It seemed as though this was the destiny path for their life. Oh well, mum was a whore. I'm a whore. Yep, that's just all it's going to be. And yet he would show up and say, I have a new identity for you. There was one woman who was dragged in front of them all. She was literally dragged from a situation where she was sleeping with a married man. They carried her in front of Jesus naked, threw her down,
Ready
and
to
said,
kill
"What
her.
about this one? Yeah, the Bible, according to the law, says we should stone her to death."
Stone to death.
And Jesus just
What
says,
did he say?
Yep, he without sin cast the first stone.
Amen.
So all those guys who picked up their stones, dropped them and walked away. And then he goes up and looks at this woman, and then he says to her, is there anyone else who condemns you for your sin? She says, no, Lord, they've all turned away. And then he just says to her, me too, go and sin no more. That was God incarnate, God in the flesh, literally said that. Said, look, even I won't stone you for this. Go and sin no more. Transform, change her. This is a woman who's been living that way her whole life. So for me, I'm just appreciating being on the road around my brothers, just sharing the gospel with these guys, sharing what God has done in my life. And it's a big trip for many of these guys too, because they knew me. Look, if you knew me, you know what type of guy I was. Like, I was the guy showing up. It was Pieter turn up. Like, I was that guy. Like, it didn't matter.
That's the guy I met.
Yeah,
About 10 years ago, but yeah, it's good to see you now, brother.
It didn't matter where I was. It was like, yeah, we're in a small town. Cool. Who's got the bottles? Who's got the drugs? Where are the women? What do we do? All of these things. To now, it's like, wow, all I talk about is God. Like, it's the most passionate thing I talk about in my life, because I am passionate about it. I love him to bits, and I can't stop talking about it. And I want everyone to experience this as well.
I like
you know?
how you talk about it. You know, just to say for the people watching, I'm always cautious of people who talk about a building or church. I haven't heard you mention church at all this time. All I've heard is mentioned directly from the Word, quote scriptures, and talk about God as God is the center of it. So I'm always cautious with people that don't put God in the center of what they're talking about with these conversations. And He's been there in the center of what everything you said. So respect, brother.
Yeah,
And I appreciate these conversations. I know we've had a couple of conversations about Christianity, Islam, colonization in the past.
Yeah.
And great conversations. Great conversations.
Yeah.
I also feel like, man, because you know, with gospel music, that's the one kind of music that I can't listen to, dog. Like, without, all right, I'm crying, dog.
Yeah.
So I save that for like the Sundays. When no one's at the shop and I open up early, I'll just play some Kirk Franklin or something, you know, and just take me back to, yeah.
Even the other one I played to you.
Nah, not that one. That one's out the gate. Nah, don't.
Yeah, sorry, guys.
Do you have that song on your iPod? No.
No, it's on my Spotify. I
Well,
mixed
yeah,
it.
I mean, gospel's a trip.
Yeah, man.
Like, okay, so
Can't miss with gospel music, bro.
for me, like, I mean, we sang a few like church songs like when I was a teenager, and yeah, they definitely moved me. But I'd never really grown up around gospel. You know, I was always drawn to the worldly stuff. And then when I got saved, all of a sudden I start searching out gospel. I'm hearing these things, and man, it's hitting me. Like, it's really hitting my heart, and I'm like, I'm weeping, bawling my eyes out. I'm like, yo, what is this? Like, there's something on us. I realized, like, that's the blueprint for what music's meant to do.
Yeah.
It's meant to move us. It's meant to touch us in that way. And, you know, when it's in its purest form, worship unto God, I think the reason why we cry, I think that's our spirit, man. I think that's literally us transcending realms. You know, where we're coming up to that higher realm. It's very difficult for anyone, I think, to listen to gospel and not be moved by it. Sincere worship, you know?
Bro, yeah, mine is always like, I just look at what I'm doing. I'm just like, I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry. I'm trying. I'm trying to filter it out. Please. How can I stop watching porn? Come on, man.
Help me, please. I need it. You know?
I'm not even going to add to that, bro.
Nah, man. Good on you, brother.
No, shot, bro.
Bro, yeah. Thanks for coming in today.
Oh man,
Appreciate it, bro.
It's been a pleasure, you know, coming through and sharing some parts of my journey, and you know, it's going to be an interesting ride. I know there's a lot more that I need to do. I still haven't done all the things that I know I need to do in terms of you know, music and where it's meant to go.
That's right.
While I've seen a lot, I know there's more. I know it. I know there's more that I'm gonna see. I know that there's new heights that are gonna be reached. There's new avenues that are gonna be explored, and it's gonna be exciting.
So there's a new album on the way?
New album on the way. So it's cool. We were talking about COG before. I'm actually doing a project right now with COG.
Back in business, huh?
Yeah, so
nice.
it felt right. 2023. You know, I was just sitting there, I was thinking, you know, I could do it on my own, but I had great success with these guys, and they're still family. So why don't we?
R&B or?
Yep, R&B album.
Nice.
I was
Real
like-
R&B, man.
So I was like, why don't we run it back? You know, and they're so cool. They said, yeah, do it. So working on a project with them, as well as, a bunch of like EDM projects, some UK garage projects, definitely some more island reggae tracks as well. I've done a whole bunch of collaborations on island reggae that are going to start dropping throughout the year.
Yeah.
So with some of the brothers like Stanley T, Vili Langi.
Stanley. One night stand.
It's good, brother. And yeah, working with the homies Will Star and Solo out in Sydney as well.
Shucks,
You know,
those are heavyweights right
Oh,
there.
yeah, man,
Will
the
Star's
heavy hitters.
he's an OG in the game, huh?
Oh,
yeah,
bro.
he is. And you know,
He's the man.
he's such a quiet type, but yeah, he's seriously putting numbers on the board, man.
Yeah.
He's worked with almost everyone. So yeah, I recently linked up with those guys again, and we're working on new music. So it'll be another. I believe we'll have another album before the year's out with those guys as well. Because once we got straight back in the booth, it was crazy. It's like, yeah, song. Let's go.
I think I might have met him. It would have been through DJ Manny and Low Key back in Sydney. And,
Oh, yep,
and
there
Lazy
you go.
J. You remember I opened up for you at one of your shows. I think it was at the Crown in Parramatta.
Oh, One World.
Or one of those
Yeah,
shows.
yeah. Well, the Crown, but yeah, it would have been One World at the time.
It was like 10 years ago, bro.
Yeah. And that it was crazy times back then. One World was nuts. Shout out to Peter Guns, Bounce Saturdays.
Peter Guns,
Peter.
man. Peter's a
DJ
good
Peter
Uso, too.
Guns, yeah.
That's the
We want to
Thugger
come to your
Uso
boat
Club.
parties also.
Your boat parties.
March 8th, we got a boat party in Brisbane. So
Oh, bro.
come.
We're coming, mate.
Damn, we might be in Samoa then.
The boat parties, yeah.
Yeah.
Coming with just my e-love lover, mate.
Well, brother, it's been a
Oh,
privilege and a pleasure to have you here. Thank you for stopping by. I know you're busy with your schedule and your family and you back home, but you made time to come and chill with us and yeah, dig into some of the past and talk about some of the future and
Yeah.
the lessons. I think the lessons is what I wanted you to come in and talk about, and I feel like you really put some gems out there for people that are watching.
Yeah.
Because everybody goes through, we're in this mental health space now where we're actually
Yeah.
talking about trauma. You couldn't talk about trauma back
Nah,
then. I tried to
man.
talk to my
get
dad
rid
about
of
trauma.
that,
Trauma, I don't even think we knew the word.
Bruh.
Like, what? What are you saying? Trauma. What does that
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, it's interesting. Everyone's real aware now of mental health and how important it is to, talk about things and get yourself in a good headspace. And I think, I guess one takeaway I'd like if somebody's watching this, I think, if you see me, you can see hope. Like, bro, you can make it out the other side. You can come through. Doesn't matter how deep you are in the hole. I'm telling you, you can come through. Lightness will always outshine the darkness. There's a little parable that I remember as a young kid. It's always stuck with me. It doesn't matter how dark a room is. Even if you light a small match, it will illuminate the room.
Amen, brother.
That's
There you
how
go.
powerful
There you
light
go.
is. So you can come through. It doesn't matter how dark things seem. It doesn't matter how broken it seems. I'm telling you, hold on, have faith. You can come through, man. The light is more powerful than the darkness, 100%.
That's right. That's right.
Bars.
Anything else you want to say before we dip out?
No, just, thank you to everyone who's been supporting the journey. The good, the bad, the ugly. You're still rocking with me. We're still here, and, stay tuned for 2024, definitely.
That's right.
It's going to be a wild ride.
It's
Stay
already
tuned.
started. It's
Yeah.
already started. You're already on festivals. You're going to a festival in like 4 days as well.
Yeah, we're on One Love.
One Love.
Yes.
Shout out to
Shout
One
out
Love
One Love.
family. We'll see you there.
Yeah,
Matai watches.
see
We'll
you
see you there, baby.
Hey,
We'll
Matai.
see you there.
Yeah.
Right on time. Matai time. And shout out to Queen Shirley Academy. Thank you for the sounds. Brother Chris R.L., thank you for
Shout out Chris
blessing us
R.L.
with these gangster
Yes,
cameras.
yeah.
Black magic, blue magic, white magic, all the magics. All right, everybody. Yeah. All right. Wait, one more question. What's your favorite book in the Bible?
Oh, my gosh.
'Cause mine's Proverbs. I wanted to see where you at.
I think the one I refer back to the most is James. Is actually
James.
the book of James. He was a brother of Jesus as well. That tripped me out. I didn't know that. He was actually a half brother of Jesus. So
Wait, what?
you didn't know that?
Nah.
James was
I haven't
actually,
read the book of James that deep.
Well, James was actually the half brother of Jesus. So he was actually one of the other children that
From-
Mary and Joseph had. And it also, theologians have they surmise that he wasn't actually a believer while Jesus was alive. He became a believer after he died and rose from the dead. He saw him. So you can imagine the testimony in the
Who denied? Who denied?
three
Jesus?
times Peter.
Peter.
Peter did.
Not James.
Yeah. So that book for me is always a really powerful book because it's just really encouraging. Like if you're going through like hard times, he just puts it in perspective. Like, look, these things will make you. They won't break you. They'll break you if you think they'll break you, but they'll make you if you trust in God.
It's
Get
up
you through.
here. And it's here in your
Yeah,
heart.
that's it.
Nice.
That's it.
That's right. All right, man. Thank you, brother.
Thank you.
Thank you,
brother.
everybody. God
Appreciate you,
bless.
brother.
Stay up. And cheese.